About 15 years or so ago, I was in a seminar in Italy studying with one of my greatest teachers. While helping me learn, he remarked that when I went into defense, I defaulted to my masculine. I remembered my body basically froze when he said that. I had this deer in the headlights look in my eyes, like, what do you mean? And I didn't know what to feel. I basically froze. My mind then kicked in and kind of started arguing and said, like, what in the world is he talking about? I wear skirts. I sometimes wear makeup. I have girl parts. So why would he say I'm defaulting to being masculine? But then my spirit kicked in, and it said, you know, maybe listen up. Maybe there's a blind spot that you have here, and maybe there's something that you can learn from. So you see, I, like so many people, really wanted to prosper in life, love, and my ability to serve others. So I embarked on a quest over the last 15 years to unravel, de-story, reorganize, and seek answers to these questions based upon the desire to thrive. So today I hope to share a few of the things that I've learned along the way. Obviously my journey is still continuing, but I've learned a few things. To start off, it'd be helpful to define masculine and feminine, so I'm going to start there. Feminine receives. She's the great receiver. She's really what I was doing before I started speaking, just kind of taking in the room, seeing who she knows, who she doesn't yet know, what signatures she recognizes, what emotions she feels, what passions or desires may be in the room that perhaps she could answer. So it's receiving. The feminine is emotional, more so than rational. She's relationship driven. So in business, for instance, as well as in life, a more feminine strategy is one's ROR, return on relationship, as opposed to return on investment, ROI. Feminine knows how to be vulnerable. Sometimes people think being vulnerable is weakness. Vulnerability is really being honest, and it's honesty plus emotion. Men actually crave vulnerability. They crave feeling vulnerability. They want to feel more from you. So a woman's willingness to feel and be seen helps liberate them. Vulnerable also asks to be championed. The feminine magnetizes versus hunts. She's not really a hunter, she's more of a magnetizer. She radiates, she lets her inner radiance shine. The doorway to the feminine is a girl in the flow. She dwells in ease and is not time pressured. She trusts in timing. She trusts in life. She may not know in her head the answers, but she's trusting. And she cultivates how to live in her heart and cultivate goodness in those around her. The more mature feminine, for instance, the queen versus the princess, and I know I'm throwing out a lot of archetypes here, and I could talk for hours about each one, but the queen, for instance, knows that she's a prize and knows that she's worthy of love and being treated well. She follows her intuition, which both guides and protects her in life. Now the masculine, he's an amazing giver. The masculine loves to give, and to be of service. The masculine thrives as the giving and in his giving, and is liberated when his work is received. And I'm using his. The feminine can use the masculine too. It's just the terms, okay? But the masculine thrives when his work is well received. The masculine is logical and strategic. The masculine is goal and investment driven. ROI, return on investment. He's more linear and focused, laser beam focus. The masculine is honest, but often less emotional than the feminine. The masculine is like a hunter, a seeker. He uses that as strategy rather than magnetizing. The masculine is the champion and the protector of the feminine. And his fulfillment and balance often comes through experiencing the emotions of the feminine through her. It's not necessarily primarily from him. Many women say they want a guy who feels and emotes. But usually what she really wants even more is to be understood and for him to hold her and be with her as she's emoting. To be steadfast in his support of her. The feminine wants to be championed. So how does all this relate to prospering in life, love, and service? Well, knowing our core nature can really help along the path in order to put forth the right nutrients and nourishment that we need. Also, the awakened feminine and the awakened masculine is a little more balanced. They use combinations of both energies, both masculine and feminine. So, for instance, an awakened feminine may be a woman who's learned how to use her masculine sense. So, for instance, I grew up in what we call the Generation X, and previous or prior to my generation, more and more, as you go back further in time, at least recent time, in Western society, many women stayed home, tended to the family, and that was more than societal norm. And more as Generation X and the, help me out. What's the generation now? Anyone? Y? Well, X, Y, and what's the millennials? There we go. The millennials. they're all shifting. The generational shifts are changing, and I believe there's a shift moving from what used to be females being encouraged to be more feminine. Well, and then in my generation, they started to be encouraged to be more in their masculine. You know, I was taught by my amazing parents who are here. Yay! Thank you for your support. I was raised with the idea that I could do anything that I wanted to do, which is an amazing gift. It's a really amazing gift. And the model that I also learned as a child, because there wasn't really a prior model, was one of the ways that I learned how to thrive was to learn how to use my masculine. So the masculine loves to achieve. By golly, I achieved. I became co-valedictorian of my high school, and I worked my tail off doing things that were not my strength at all, like calculus. So not my brain. Then I went to undergraduate school, and I actually became a music major, and that put me a little bit more into my feminine because it was more artistic and it was more flowy, and I had a steady boyfriend for 3 years, so I kind of started to learn and be in that world a little bit more. And then I knew, gosh, I want to help people. I knew at such a young age I wanted to help people. And I went to chiropractic school, and I landed myself in this place where there was hardcore science after science after science, and my mind just went, oh my God. I actually had to retake 2 or 3 classes, like, I failed, right? That was not my norm growing up. And I went through a period of like, oh my God, I don't even know if I can do this. This is so hard. And I kind of got on my big girl panties and pulled my bootstraps up and re-honed my masculine going through chiropractic school. And by the end, I actually made the dean's list, I think my last quarter of school. My masculine was really proud of that. Nobody cares about that, by the way, now. No one ever asks you what GPA you were in college, so that's not allowed to be one of the questions, by the way, because I don't remember. Anyways, so the awakened feminine, she learns how to use both the masculine and the feminine, but our core, like everybody has a different spectrum, but I know that my core really is more feminine, and that's more my nature. So something that I experienced both during chiropractic school and following it many years as I started my own business, I found that I, and many of the people that I noticed, like the smart, successful women in business, I noticed that many of us became really tired and fatigued and drained, and like there was a rift, something wasn't quite right, and just got energetically depleted. And many women experience kind of a loss of passion and knowingness of who they are and what their soul's purpose is. And I believe one of the reasons for this is almost in our time period, this artificial honing or over-exuberance of learning the masculine and just kind of forgetting our feminine core. And so part of the work that I've been doing the last 15 years is just, when I can, I take these courses. There's online courses. I just took one in LA a month ago, just to kind of remember, well, how do I nourish the feminine, so I can be more balanced with both. That was for you, Lori. You're welcome. She's been catching me on my ums, so there we go. There's 2. I did want to mention a few basic tips and a couple of secrets and shortcuts that I've learned along the way to nourish the divine feminine, as well as to support people in general toward a more vibrant life, extraordinary love, and generous service. So there's a basic principle that's really important. The answer to energy deficiency is energy efficiency. Said another way, your energy level determines the context for all content in life. It determines how you interpret your life and everything that happens in it. It affects your mind, because your mind is really the receiver of thought. You are not the originator of thought. You're the receiver of thoughts. And your energy level determines the bandwidth of the thoughts you have access to. And when you know this, you start to think, well, how do I bring my energy level up? And another thing, our soul's purpose, it's really hard to know what nobody does you like you do you. Nobody does me like I do me. But there's 10,000 possible versions that each one of us can elect to choose, and all of them are influenced by our energy state that we choose. So knowing that, and knowing that really to define a soul's purpose, or what is it like, ever wonder, what am I here to do? What am I here to serve? Who am I here to get? Like, what's my purpose? Those questions require an energy-rich state to answer. So I find that having a few tricks, a few shortcuts to help me have the best possible energy is really critical, because it affects not only me, but every single person that I have the opportunity to touch, to influence, and to impact. And every single person that person impacts, and that person impacts. So kind of lights the world on fire, a good fire. Trick number 1. What you put in your body is really important. Food. Thank you for the speaker right before me. She talked a lot about food. Woohoo! And being conscious while eating. Yes. I would say also be conscious while selecting. Unfortunately, there are so many different pesticides, sprays, chemical additives found in our food supply, as well as, oh, there's 3, Lori. Are you counting? Oh, cool. We have so many different chemicals. Glyphosate is a big one, which is found in Roundup, and it's sprayed in so many of our foods, and it's a known carcinogen. So we kind of get bogged down with all these different gunks, especially in highly processed foods. So wheat, gluten, corn in this country is loaded with agrochemicals, and dairy and sugar pose many problems for a lot of people. So cleaning up one's diet and focusing on live, raw, organic, non-GMO, high-quality foods, greens, vegetables, fruits, that really brings a lot of vibrance and nutrition to your cells on a cellular level, give life force energy. I would be remiss not to mention that in 15 years of practice, I've never had a source for outstanding nutrition that I really felt that I could endorse until this year. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about some amazing, healthy, green, just pure foods, I'd love to share that with you. I have some $50 gift cards available at our booth right over there that Lori's sitting at. You can tease her about the ums. Don't spill, by the way. You can tease me about my ums. It's my problem. Okay. The nutrition that I was mentioning, I've cut some. I've lost a few pounds, probably 10 pounds or so, and 1.5 inches off of my belly fat and thighs, but my family's actually been taking it as well. They've lost a lot of pounds and inches as well, and I'm just really excited about it, not just because of that, but because of the reduced inflammation in the system, feeling more energized, and some really kind of cool things that have happened just within my family, like reduced allergy symptoms and reduced congestion, some really cool stuff. So, tip number 2, secret number 2, habits and practices. So I know there aren't a ton of people in chairs, but I would like for the people in the chairs to actually get up. You got to get up and move. And you might have to kind of get a little closer to each other, because I want you to get up and move and stretch and kind of wiggle it out. And I want you to stand near someone so you can turn to your right and actually have someone there. And I want you to massage the person to your, I guess your right would be the other way. Everybody turn to your right. you're going to massage the person in front of you. And if you're in your booths and you have a partner, you have a person next to you, booths can partner up and you can give each other a little back rub right now. Yeah, there we go. Woohoo! Thank you for doing it. Yay. Oh, come on. Come on. Yes, thank you for showing the love. Awesome. Doesn't that feel good? Aw. Hi, Taylor. Touch is so amazing. It's so healing, right? Right? And movement's so healing. So the way we move our bodies, the way we exercise, you know, and I don't just mean like pumping iron for 60 minutes, and that's great if you do that, but honestly, 10 minutes or 15 minutes of stretching or yoga or walking, or here's one of my favorites for the feminine, dance breaks, okay? So you put on your favorite song and you just start dancing your favorite songs like no one's watching you, or like everybody's watching you if you don't mind. Tip number 3, and this has been really one of the most profound tips for me and one of the most impactful tips for me for the last 18 years. And it's one that I know some people utilize, but not everyone. How you reset or reorganize your nervous system. Yes, I am a chiropractor. I'm not just trying to plug chiropractic, but honestly, our lifeline extends from our brain down our spinal cord, throughout our whole back, and every single nerve fiber that exits our spine goes to every part of our, they organize every organ, action, and function of our body. From our digestion, to our heart function, to our immune system function, to the way we think and feel. And if we've got certain gaps or certain areas of our spine or our nervous system that have become rigid and inflexible, then those areas and those nerves are not getting their full flow of information, and your brain is not receiving its full flow of information and signals from those parts of your body. And then you have areas that you just start, you're tired, but you don't know why you're tired. Some people feel pain. Some people don't feel pain, but it's just, there's a sense that things aren't quite well or aren't quite right, and it's hard to put your finger on it. And a lot of the time, I can't tell you how often, that has to do with what's going on and what gaps, like I had my gap and like, what do you mean, I'm not masculine? Of course I was. So a lot of times we have gaps in our awareness in our body. And something else about that, you know, we're in an age where technology has just sped up. I mean, I remember as a kid, and I just this month, okay, I was born in Seaside 40 years ago this month. Can I get an amen on Sunday? Thank you. So in my lifetime, I remember when we had 12 channels on the TV, and the TV was a dial that clicked, and we had the rotary telephone where, you know, you would do this and you go all the way around and you keep your finger in the little rotary and you go around again and you go around again, and it was bright orange, right? And the TV was 12 channels and big, huge snow and static. Does anyone else, I'm dating myself, but does anyone remember this? Yay! Okay. You know, and when I was a kid, they came out with like green computers that were enormous, like with a green screen and black, and there was like little Frogger and little Pac-Man, and it was, you know, I mean, now I can't even go into, I mean, the changes in technology have just been astronomical in 4 years. My son's clapping, yes. But it's forcing us, that social media, which I think Ali's going to be talking about next, or coming up, okay? Social media changes, keeping up with the pace of how quickly our world is changing, it requires an upgraded nervous system. How often do we upgrade our phones? How often, seriously, how often do we have to upgrade our phone? Too often, right? We have to buy a new computer every 5 years or less, and it becomes obsolete, right? How are we upgrading our nervous system? That's how we process life. It's so critical and so important. So, that's why I do what I do, because I love helping people to have the most available energy, health, vitality, wellness, flexibility in their spine, their body, their life. Because it's not just about your spine, it's about how you live your life. Your emotions, your thoughts, your access to how you know who you are. For the past 30 years, a newer method has been in development that's both safe and gentle, right? Yet incredibly powerful people like Tony Robbins, if anyone's ever heard of him, Usher, if anyone's heard of him, Deepak Chopra, anyone heard of him? Okay, I like hands. Hands, anyone? Ken Wilber, right? Bruce Lipton, PhD. He's a cellular biologist guy. He's amazing. Candace Pert, Molecules of Emotion. Some of these amazing people, they love this work. Forums. This new work was recently featured in a documentary that is available on epienergetics.com. I'm sorry, I don't have PowerPoint, but it's epienergetics.com. It's a new website that was launched. The work's been out for 30 years, but it is somewhat rare. There's only 5 or 6 or 7 chiropractors like myself in the entire state of Oregon that practice in this particular way. And it's a way that helps your body learn how to reorganize its own tension, fuel, and to become more resourceful, more energized, and more alive. It's amazing. So I actually used to suffer from 10 years of chronic low back pain, and I tried many different kinds of chiropractic, I tried acupuncture, I tried a whole bunch of different things, and it was this work that helped me. But not just heal my low back, and I have some spinal anomalies. I was told as a teenager I'd probably be in pain for the rest of my life. Guess what? Oh, sorry. I'm not. But I was for 10 years, and it was miserable. It was awful. And the biggest benefit that I've had since I've had this work is the change in relationship that I have with myself. The way that I talk to myself differently. Instead of, I used to kind of curse myself if I was in pain. I wasn't trying to learn from it. I was just trying to mask it or get away from it, but not really ask, like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? And sometimes those are really great questions to ask. And sometimes we really don't know, and we just need some help, and that's okay. I've learned, sometimes I have blind sides, I could not imagine my life without continuing to invest in my health and my wellness. And I just, on Friday, drove 3 hours each direction to get this care. So I drive a 6-hour round trip to get my own care. So that's the importance that I place on it. It's not because I was in pain. So I didn't mean to plug my work so much, but honestly, it's amazing, and I'd be delighted to serve each and every one of you if you're interested in the most healthy, well, vital expression of life possible. also wanted to mention, the more presence that's used, the less force that's required in any endeavor in life. So the more present you are, the less force you need. So light touch in and of itself doesn't work, but when you combine it with incredible amounts of presence and you stack multiple perspectives of different things upon top of different things, then suddenly you have something very different and you get different results. I wanted to mention, I'm kind of throwing out my notes at this point. I didn't think I was going to do that. I did want to mention, I have a very special offer for people that want to come to our booth today. We're giving $50 off your initial consultation. If you want to see if we might be able to help you with your body, your spine, your life. Normally our exam is $200. I take $50 off, and then out of that $150, we're donating an additional $50 to your choice of either the ACLU or we have on the West Coast the oldest public swimming pool. It's I think 82 or 83 years old. It is in Nehalem, Oregon, and it's well past its retirement age. It needs to be replaced. So every year, our business focuses on 2 nonprofits or charities that we give to. So those are our 2 this year, either the Nehalem Pool or the ACLU. So we'll be donating from your exam money toward that if you choose to take us up on our offer of a discounted exam. And we also have the 12 stages of extraordinary. And that is an amazing 3-class series that will teach you how to do a lot of this yourself, teach you exercises for 12 different ways of extraordinary living. So at this point, I would love and be delighted to take any questions. I actually love questions. Questions? Yes? Yeah, so the question was, can I give an example of how the work that I do is different from other forms of chiropractic? Sure. Just a little bit of history. There are over 100 different chiropractic techniques, so no chiropractor is the same. What I will say is the original chiropractic premise, I actually consider, I'm going to be taking chiropractic out of my business name next year, and it's not because I don't love it. I actually consider myself to really be a chiropractor. And the chiropractic principle is to unite man the physical, or woman the physical, with woman the spiritual. It's a uniting of those 2 things. Harvey Willard actually restored his hearing. That was the first adjustment. And it was because D.D. Palmer felt that there was a bone out of place in his neck at C1, and instantly his hearing was restored. Now, I'm not promising that everybody's hearing can be restored through chiropractic, but what I know is when something is off in the spine, it affects the body. So how is what I do differently? What I do is very gentle, so it's about the pressure of putting your fingertips over your eyelid, and it's not any more gentle, so there's no jarring or twisting or cracking or popping unless it's a pop that happens from your body moving itself, okay? I've worked with babies in neonatal intensive care units. I've worked with hours-old people, and I've worked with people into their 90s. I don't think I've had the pleasure of swimming someone over 100. Are you waiting for me to, you good? Okay. So,
we need to.
Okay. So I think I'm feeling the cane taking me off. But how is it different? The biggest difference is that what this does is it helps the body learn how to reorganize. So this is teaching someone how to fish versus having them dependent on going to the marketplace again and again and again.
This is you as a practice member, a member of your own health and wellness, being an integral part of your healing journey and becoming more and more responsible for helping the process of increasing your energy, health, vitality, and wellness. And I'd love to serve you, and I'd love to answer any more questions that you have right over there at the booth. Right there, we have, I don't know if we have 3 or 4 extra openings for a stress relief session, but if you want to, if you are a Clatsop, Tillamook County resident, we have a few freebies. And I gotta go, so thank you so much.